Hello and welcome back to another edition of Totem Tuesday. This week we're not going to be looking at a specific totem animal, but instead we're going to be looking at a type of totem we may encounter on our journeys, in our meditations and in our everyday life. And that is called the shadow totem. Bam, bam, bam. I need some better, freakier music to go alongside that. Now the shadow totem is not as scary or dramatic as it sounds. In fact, we all do work on our shadow selves when we start working spiritually, because if we don't, it comes and bites us in the bottom. Now, a shadow totem, so you'll encounter different kinds of totems in your life, whether you're just wandering into looking at totem animals, or whether you journey regularly and work with specific animals for healing or whatever you do. And a shadow totem will be an animal that comes up in these meditations and journeys or in your day-to-day going about that you feel quite repulsed about. You feel like, I don't want you here, I'm not feeling the love right now. Again, this doesn't have to be in a spiritual sense. This can be, I'm sure there's not lots of animals, but I'm sure there's a couple of animals that potentially you can think of that you're like, And I was thinking, no, I like all animals, and I thought, actually, flies, not big on flies. And, there's a couple of things you're like, actually, not such an amazing fan of. You could be a phobia of these animals, you could have actually a fear because they've attacked you in this life, or maybe they come up in your meditations, in your journeys, and they represent a threat to you in some way. You may get attacked in your journeying space by this animal, or just feel really, really fearful of them. So the first thing before we go any further is, are there any animals there that you think, generally speaking, not for me? I'm scared of them, make me feel a bit icky, I feel uncomfortable when they're around, or I switch the telly off if they're on a documentary that I'm watching. There could be a few reasons, a few situations that come up. So have a little think and see, are there any animals that immediately turn you off in that way? And maybe think that if you are working spiritually and meditating and journeying and doing your work, what animals have popped up that that you felt didn't want you there, or you felt threatened by in some way. Now, shadow totem isn't as... Or shadow work, it has a risk with the word shadow of being glamorised. It's okay, I'm working with my shadow. It's just stuff we've repressed. It's just stuff that we didn't want and don't want to deal with. And I'm actually saying this as it's very, very, very important work to recognise what's in our shadow, and very, very important work to bring it to the surface and to heal it. And if we can do that, then we're really well on the way to being whole and behaving in a really grounded, awesome manner, without having a little quirks or personality that make us do strange things or act in a way that is dishonourable and we don't really actually like about ourselves. So doing the shadow work is epic and not easy, and people don't really want to do it because it might sound glamorous, shadow work, but actually it means poking you and going, do you like that? What's wrong with that? Why do you feel like that when you react to these sorts of things? And it's making a bit of an awareness that what you don't like in other things, other people, situations, may reflect on what you're repressing yourself. And we're not only repressing our bad things, we can repress anything. We're good at that as humans, especially as Brits. Gosh, isn't repression part of the, part of the job to get a passport here? But seriously, this could be from a small thing that happened to you as a child. It could be a big thing that happened to you as a child. So these could be the traumas or tragedies that have happened in your life that are very deep, and you're already having a big issue working through, and so that you know about. And this could come in animal form to represent that in your meditations or journeys. An aggressive force, a sly force, something you don't trust. Or it could be something like, when you were little, you didn't feel you got that love, or something happened that put you down and you didn't have to deal with it, and you pushed it into a place and it never kind of came out from that space, and you're still pushing it back because you've kind of forgotten about it. It could even, and again, it could be a good thing that you're repressing. It could be a really good thing. It could be like, actually, I'm really scared of actually having recognition, of standing up, for who I am. I'm a little bit, because I got put down at one point, or I was told I couldn't, or wasn't good enough, I got embarrassed when I was a child about it. Any zillion and one reasons why you'd push something back and repress something. But it can be your talents and your skills that you've repressed as well. And so therefore your totem animal that comes up in the shadow sense could represent maybe if you are, so example, maybe if you are scared of standing up and being counted and standing out there and saying this is me, and you've repressed that, but secretly you want to get it sorted. A lion could be your shadow totem, because they're kind of like, I've got my pride, I'm confident, I'm solar. You think I just don't like lions. Don't know many people that don't like lions, but it's just an example, really. I mean, common shadow totems are snakes, spiders, wolves, flies. That's what I've said. Insects, ones we don't really like. They make us feel a bit icky. Maybe they remind us of our mortality. Maybe they remind us of the dirtier parts of human nature. And some of the totems remind us that we're quite slovenly and wasteful, and they take advantage quite happily and quite rightfully of our waste. I think foxes have become epic at living in cities and living off the things we throw away, and we call them pests. It's like, oh, we left the rubbish there in the first place. I don't know who the pest is around here, but I don't think it's the fox. So yeah, this is a really important bit of work with your totem animals to do, because it reveals stuff about you that you're like, yeah, I am a little bit wasteful and slovenly, I am a little bit, I try to be nice, but actually underneath I'm kind of harbouring this anger about things. And the animals can show us very, very strongly in these meditations and journeys, and we all have them. The most spiritual of us all have definitely got our shadows that we are maybe on a constant process of working with and making sure on top of it, or discovering the deeper levels of what we are working with. So I don't want to glamorise a shadow, because it can hit you quite hard when you look at those things and you go, oh yeah, I'm like that a bit, aren't I? But if you can work with that, and if you can acknowledge it, bring it to the light, bring it to the surface, bring it out in light of day and say, you know what, this animal that's coming up, let me talk to it, let me do a bit of work with it, let me study it, let me see how it moves, let me see how it hunts, let me see how it hides, let me see when it's asleep, let me see all these things about how it mates, how its families are, and really observe this animal that comes up as your shadow totem. And even in your meditation space, I totally recommend this, in your journeying space, communicate with this animal. Take off the edge of this fear or this revulsion. Communicate and maybe see what they have to show you, see what they have to teach you. But whether you do go deep into the journey and communicate with them and deal with them on a meditational, vibrational level, or whether you realise that they represent this aspect of your life, and it's probably time you start working on it. It's the most powerful totem you're probably going to meet, because it's aligning you with the things that scare you, and it's aligning you with the things that you're freaking out and hiding from. And when they're brought into the light, they lose their power over you, and you therefore become much more powerful. Thank you so much for watching my video. Subscribe, like, share, do all the things that make me happy. Well, not all the things that make me happy, but just like and subscribe and share. That's enough for now. Have a lovely day. Take care. Bye.